Yes, indeed. Hello, hello. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing all right. Owain Evans here on BBC Radio Wales, in for Carol Vorderman, who's having a day off. She deserves it. She works very hard.
She does.
Benny's here with me as well. Now, I'm very excited about our next guest on the programme. It's not every day we can say we have a Hollywood star on the show, Benny.
Some of my favourite films and TV series he's appeared in as well.
Yeah, this is so exciting.
I'm so excited.
Marcus Shakesheff, originally from St Julian's, Newport, has spent the last 15 years working as a stunt performer on numerous blockbuster films and smash hit TV series. Game of Thrones, the latest Wonder Woman film, Sherlock Holmes, to name just a few. And we're pleased to say he has 2 feet on the ground today and joins us. Marcus, hello, welcome to the programme.
Good afternoon.
Hi, you guys okay?
It's fabulous to have you on the show, Marcus. Now,
thank you for having me.
Speaking to somebody like you, Marcus, who works in an industry who I think for all of us is so far removed from what we do as a job, is truly fascinating. Have you always been an adventurous person?
Oh, yeah. I mean, even from a young age, I was a big Jackie Chan fanatic. So when his new films would come out, even as a kid, I'd watch them and I'd be like, oh, wow, look at that stunt he did. And I'd try to recreate his stunts. And my mum, I used to give her a heart attack. So where we used to live, she used to be able to see down. We had these garages, and behind the garages were all these trees. And she'd just see me recreating this stuff, and she'd have a heart attack. She used to hate it. And being a parent now, I can imagine what I put her through. I'm like, oh, my Lord.
Oh, I bet. And then going from that, where obviously you were kind of seeing these amazing stunts in films and thinking, I want to do that. How did you progress into being a stunt performer?
Oh, I mean, originally, I was a martial arts. I used to fight in a style called Kyokushin karate, it's bare knuckle karate. I loved my martial arts, and like you said, I loved the stunts. But I didn't really know it was like a profession, if that makes sense. Yeah. I was just naive, I didn't really put that link between action, and you just watch the actors do it, and you just see it's the actors. And then I started doing, when I was about 19, I started doing like extra work. Then I started doing acting, nothing big, BBC entries and music videos. And then that's when I started learning that like stunts was a profession. And then I got asked, because through my martial arts, because I was an okay martial artist, I got asked to be Batman in the Batman Arkham Asylum games. So there's a game series with Batman, and basically what they want to do is motion capture movement for Batman for the games, and that was a highly successful game series. So that was sort of my in to the stunts.
I see. The line is coming and going a bit, Marcus, but we can just about hear you now. I think you've returned. And that's interesting, okay. Because people often think of a stunt performer as somebody who just, does stunts, the very name. But of course, getting into that, it's quite an interesting kind of path, I suppose, and one that's not always clear. As far as performing the stunts then, after you did the motion capture stuff for that computer game, what was your first stunt performing job?
My first stunt performing job was for it was for a film. I think it was Prince of Persia: Sands of Time.
Right.
I think it was my first stunt performing job.
And how do you feel? Hi, it's Benaz here, Marcus. How do you feel before you do a stunt? I think I'd be quite nervous. Do you get nervous about it?
Yes and no. It's that thing. It's knowledge based, isn't it? So if I use this analogy that if I was to take you rock climbing and just threw you up on the wall, you're gonna be scared. You're gonna be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? But if I teach you how to fasten your harness, how to tie a knot, how to do the ropes, how to anchor yourself off, how to make it all safe, you take the fear factor out of it. And stunts is very much the same thing. You take the fear factor out of it. Now, there's certain things that you are going to do, and you're going to be like, all right, this is scary, but you can't focus on that. It's that thing.
Do you enjoy the fear, though?
I mean, there's definitely a high rush afterwards. You're buzzing, you've done this thing, everyone's clapping, people are like, oh, wow, you did this thing. Obviously, there is that adrenaline rush afterwards. You're like, yeah, I did the stunt. I mean, I did quite a small thing as far as stunts on a show called Krypton, where I did I think it was about a 12-foot front drop onto concrete.
That hurt.
It did, but it was one of those things where it's like, right, if I do this once and I do it well, I don't have to do it again.
Right.
And
There's no practice run. Let's just get it right on the first time.
Yeah, just do
basically, and it's almost like ripping off a band-aid. Now, I know how to fall, and basically, I got knee pads on, I got elbow pads on, so I know that if my first point of contact are the pads, I'm going to take the sting out of it straight away. So it's knowledge base. It's still gonna hurt, but it's knowing how to fall, how to land, how I hit. And, you know, I did it one take, it was done, over, and I was so glad I didn't have to go again. But it's that thing, it's that knowledge base. You know, I know it's not going to be pleasant, but you just got to man up and do it.
And I suppose when you look at many scenes, and I'm speaking, you know, as somebody who watches films and has ever been involved in a film, Marcus, when you see scenes that require stunt performers, you perhaps have, you know, smoke, you have pyro, you have explosions, you have kind of big cameras on jibs swinging around everywhere, and lots of extras. You also work as a stunt coordinator. I imagine doing that sort of job, you have to be spinning plates all the time.
It can be quite busy. So I'll use Wonder Woman, the first Wonder Woman, as an example. We had a beach battle. Right. So we're on the beach in Italy. We got galloping horses. We got explosions. Like you say, you got dusted mortars, cameras on crane. We had a lot of stunt people on that. I think it was like 60 stunt performers in that battle, maybe more. And then what we had extras. So what you would do is you'd rehearse the stunt. You have a day rehearsing the stunts, as always. You rehearse the stunt. You rehearse the horses. Get the horses galloping. Then you bring the stunt people in. Then you sort out their fight pieces. Then you'll organize it in a way that it's all safe. So no one's going to get hit by a horse. You know, no one's going to get hit by a pyro. Then what you do is with the extras, they're more as background. You sort of fill them in the background to fill up the camera frame. So they never really get involved, if that makes sense.
I see.
And then you play the whole thing out. But yeah, as a stunt coordinator, you have to keep your eyes open. Yeah. You have to, make sure everyone is safe.
Oh, I could speak to you all day about this, Marcus. It's absolutely fascinating. Now, when I, and I'm sure many of our listeners as well, watch films and they see these big action-packed scenes and you have lots of stunt people in them. When you see older films, one thing I really love doing is not picking the scenes apart, but thinking, oh, how did they do that with the technology that existed back then? Do you do that when you watch classic old films? And are there any stunt performers or stunt, coordinators that you admire?
Oh, I mean, I could go on. I mean, when I was younger, obviously I was influenced a lot by the Jackie Chan stunts, but everyone knows Jackie Chan stunts. Everyone's seen documentaries, the stuff he done. But then when I was decided that being a stunt performer was a career, I started researching old films I like so for example, Indiana Jones. And if you watch, one of my favorite stunts is, I think it's The Last Crusade, where Indiana Jones is galloping up a horse alongside a tank and he jumps off the horse onto the tank. That was performed by Vic Armstrong, a legendary stunt performer, stunt coordinator. He's done loads of films. He did the original Superman, did all the Indiana Jones films. But that stunt for me, that
you'd love to do it.
Oh, I mean, I've done a lot of stunts in my time. I've been blown up. I've climbed buildings. I've thrown off stuff. I've jumped off stuff. But something like that is quite iconic. I got to be honest, I don't think I've done anything that iconic, and I'd love to. I'd still love to. I mean, I've done things like that where I've been practicing myself and I've had a camera and I've done a show reel or a short film. I've done stuff like that. But something that iconic, no, I haven't done anything like it. And I mean, that stunt is that is a stunt. That there's no CGI. There's no wires, there's no green screen. That was Vic galloping a horse, trying to keep up with a tank. And bear in mind, I don't know if anyone knows horse riding, but if you take your leg off the horse, you've got to kick the horse on. If you take your leg off the horse will stop. He's got to then get onto the saddle and jump onto the tank with the horse still going at the same speed. I mean, that is hard. You've got to be extremely knowledgeable about horses, and you've got to be confident in your timing, your spacing, your awareness, because the minute that horse slows down, if you jump, you're going to miss the tank. And bear in mind, look, I didn't work on the film, and I haven't spoke to Vic about this stunt, so I'm only giving my opinion of this and my assessment. But, I mean, that gap from the tank to the horse had to have been, 4 meters maybe? It was a good old... And the thing is, the minute he gets on the saddle, his feet is off the horse. There's nothing propelling the horse to keep up with the tank, so he's got to just jump. Yeah. And if you watch the film, he actually, as he jumps, he basically just belly flops onto the tank. I mean,
we'll have to go and watch that again now and have a completely different respect amount of levels for you guys.
I mean, this is the thing. I mean, obviously you've got people like Jackie Chan and Tom Cruise are famous doing their own stunts, but there's a lot of stunt people out there. Like you say, who I admire. I mean, I could give you a list. I mean, there's Vic Armstrong, Rocky Taylor. There was performers I watched when I started performing, like Mikey Lambert, Buster Reeves. Mikey Lambert worked in Hong Kong. He did lots of multiple fights for Jackie Chan, Jet Li. Buster Reeves, he doubled Batman for all the Nolan films. He doubled, what's his name? Brad Pitt for Troy. He did the famous flying through the air sword thing. And I used to watch them. And then coming up, there was like Lee Sherwood. I come up through Lee Sherwood. He's a very famous stunt coordinator. He's done lots and lots of credits. I mean, he's done
so much passion, Marcus.
Oh, I love it. But, I mean, like I say, there's so many stunt coordinators I could mention. Paul Herbert, Jamie Edgiel, it just goes on.
Absolutely.
I've watched these guys. I've watched them. And then I've had the opportunity to work with them, come up through them, and then guide me, to where I've got today. So, I mean, I am a nerd when it comes to stunts.
Benaz and I could talk to you about this all day because, it's always an element of a film or a TV series that you love seeing. Marcus, thank you so much for coming on to chat to us today.
Worries.
And all the best with everything, Marcus.
Thank you.
Stay safe. That was the fabulous Marcus Shakesheff, a stunt performer. Oh, just great to have an insight into that, Benny, wasn't it?
It is, and I think he's won an award for the Oscar equivalent of stuntmen. Wow. Very talented young man.
Amazing. And so much goes into it as well.